I was browsing wish.com for bargains the other day, thinking about maybe buying one of those little fanless PCs that sits on the back of a monitor, or maybe one of those weird tiny Android laptops, when I stumbled across a couple of product listings that are too good to be true. Literally too good to be true. Here's the first product, which was one of the top search results for Mini Computer, the Mini Computer 1 X Player. Priced at £22.34, this is supposedly an Intel i7-based Windows gaming mini tablet. Now this has to be a scam. The product depicted does actually exist, but it costs more than $1,000 from the manufacturer, so let's be clear, I am expecting to be scammed here. So I went ahead and ordered that. Then on my search for a mini laptop, I found this product, 7-inch notebook computer gamepad, which purports to be an i7 mini laptop, again with gaming controls. This one was priced at £18.27, which again is obviously a scam for a product with this spec. Again, the product depicted does exist and it's the same manufacturer as the other thing, but it costs something like $800 when you buy it for real from them. I ordered one of these too, fully expecting to be scammed. Now, why am I ordering things that I think are obvious scams? Well, so you don't have to, for one thing. Now maybe you weren't going to. You might not be foolhardy enough to order this quite obvious scam, but I bet some of you are itching to know what would actually happen if you did. Well, I'm here today to scratch that itch for you. Also, once I have been scammed, I'm going to raise the matter with Wish, so we'll get a chance to see how well the inevitable complaint process is handled. Here's what I think is likely to happen next. And just to be clear, I am recording this part of the video on the morning after I placed these orders, weeks before the promised delivery. A little later on in the video, we'll see how close I got with my prognostications. I think one of four things will happen. The first and possibly most boring of these is nothing at all. Maybe the order will be cancelled internally for some reason, such as the complaints of other customers about the product, before the date of dispatch, and in this case I would expect an automatic refund. Secondly, maybe a tracking number will be provided for a parcel that eventually gets delivered somewhere, but not here at Shrimp Cottage. I've seen that before, and the scammers use it as a kind of smokescreen to make an argument that there was a proof of delivery, but the proof of delivery is cloned from some other consignment that went somewhere else. Thirdly, maybe something will turn up that kind of superficially resembles the product I ordered in some tenuous way. Either one of those little Famiclone pocket game consoles, or maybe a cheap Bluetooth keyboard. But something that gives the seller some sort of plausible deniability about the scam. Something that lets them argue it was an honest mix-up or something. Finally, possibly something will turn up and it will just be the cheapest item of drop-shipped tat possible. Just something, anything, that enables the seller to convince Wish that they sent a parcel, which I think they have to do in order to get paid. That's the four possibilities I have in mind at this point. Can you think of one that I missed? If you did think of one, pause the video and comment, and then see if you got it right. So that's the ordering and speculation. I should probably also say that I have summarily ruled out some of the so-called possibilities that from previous experience will likely appear as weirdly angry arguments under the video. Those being that it's genuine and just priced that way because of economies of scale, or because something drop shipping, or because it's just an honest pricing mistake. Oh, my sweet summer child. There are no honest pricing mistakes on Wish. No, this is for sure and definitely a scam. I am being scammed, and I just have to wait a month or so to learn exactly what kind of scam I'm being scammed with. Because video editing exists, you don't have to wait at all though, so here's what happened next. On the 24th of January, the day before shipping was due, I made a YouTube short video about this scam to serve both as a teaser for the full video you're now watching and also to put a stake in the ground with my predictions about what would happen next. To keep that video under 60 seconds, I only included the three most interesting of my four predictions, and what happened next was actually the one I didn't mention. The order was just cancelled and refunded by Wish. But get this, the short video went live at 10:23. My orders, which were from two different vendors on Wish, were cancelled and refunded at 12:51 and 13:04, within 3 hours of publishing that video titled "I am being scammed on Wish right now." Coincidence? Let's analyse. It could just be coincidence. Someone at Wish might have been acting out of routine diligence or might be responding to someone else's complaint about the obvious scam products and found my order in which I was about to be scammed and cancelled it. I don't think it's that, and I will explain why in just a moment. It could be that the vendor, that is the scammer, was unable to comply with some part of the dispatch process and this triggered a refund. I don't think it's that, because both of the orders from supposedly different vendors, which, okay, could be just the same scammer, were cancelled within minutes of each other, and besides, the deadline for shipment wasn't even up yet. It could be that someone at Wish somehow became aware of my video in which I was talking about how I was being scammed right now on Wish, and they acted to limit the damage. That is, not damage to me, but to their reputation, such as it is. Maybe they have some alert set up that informs them when a YouTube video contains the words wish and scam in the title, although honestly that mailbox must be pretty full if they got that. Or maybe someone who knows someone who knows someone who works for Wish forwarded the link to the video and they reacted to it. I'll tell you what makes me most suspicious that this wasn't just a completely normal and diligent customer service action by Wish. It's this. After my orders were cancelled, the scam products remained listed and available to buy on the Wish platform. Surely if they were actually concerned about the scam, they'd have just taken those products down, wouldn't they? We'll never know for sure, but we can attack this from another angle to triangulate a bit more insight. Like this, I signed up for a new account at Wish using one of my scam baiting pseudonyms, Monica Flange, and I ordered the exact same items. Fortunately, I've got access to a different address I can send them to, so there's no way for anyone at Wish to easily link Monica to me. The due date for a shipment for these orders was the 31st of January, so now we just wait and see what happens. And again, you don't have to wait, here's what happened. Unlike the previous orders, these showed up as processing and then shipped, which was also confirmed by an email notification to Monica Flange. That is, Wish emailed Monica at the mailbox configured on Monica's Wish account. Why am I mentioning this? Well, just pin that thought for now. Then Monica got another email saying the Mini Computer 1 X player had been delivered, except it definitely hadn't. I went to Wish to dispute this transaction, and here's where it got super weird and suspicious. I was unable to log in. The Wish login box just failed to recognise Monica's account. I tried the forgot password function, but that too denied knowledge of Monica's email address, even though their system had been sending Monica all those email notifications. I couldn't log in to dispute the transaction. I thought I'd try one more thing, so I spun up the machine from which I initially created Monica's Wish account and ordered the items. The browser on that machine was still logged in, and this allowed me into the account, and I was able to dispute the transaction from there. But all attempts to log in afresh anywhere else, using Monica's details that I double and triple checked to be correct, would not let me in. It looks like Wish tried to block me, but maybe only at the login prompt part of their system. Why would they do that if everything else was supposedly legitimate and above board? I think this, together with the earlier events, constitutes evidence suggesting that Wish is knowingly complicit in this scam. The dispute process was faintly ridiculous. I had to chat to a bot that tried to persuade me to look harder for the non-parcel, and then also claimed that parcels sometimes turn up days after they're marked as signed for, which I've never known to be true. Anyway, it just wanted to give me friendly but useless and wrong advice. I escalated the matter to their customer service, and the next day the order was refunded without any further fuss or discussion. And Monica got an email confirming this, despite the fact that the system continues to deny any knowledge of Monica's email address at the login screen. Also by this time, the product pages for these two scam items had been removed from view on wish.com. But let's also take a look at that tracking information that was provided. I couldn't get any very detailed information, but it appears to show a consignment being shipped from Ipswich to the Bristol area. The delivery endpoint isn't exactly clear, but it appears to have gone through the Bristol hub, which probably isn't what would happen for a parcel that was actually destined for Monica's address that I gave for the order. I don't actually think this consignment relates to my order at all. In fact, I don't think it even relates to anything from Wish. I think what happened here is the scammer has just obtained a tracking code for a consignment that's being delivered somewhere in the UK for something like the right date, and they've used that to try to make the marketplace system at Wish pay out for the order. It wouldn't surprise me at all if the scammer has contacts in various logistics companies who are harvesting consignment numbers out of their systems and passing them to the scammer to use in this way. So that was one of the products. For the other one, nothing happened for a long time. It just sat there in the same status until after the promised shipping time. Then I got a notification from Wish that I was eligible for a refund. Again, I went through the process, and again, there was a little bit of resistance that I had to push against before I eventually got my refund. Now, I realise this is all a bit of an anticlimactic conclusion to this whole thing. Part of me was hoping I would receive something we could unbox, and then we could laugh at how much it didn't resemble the product offering. But this wasn't that sort of scam this time. So if this is all such an obvious, too good to be true scam, how does it ever work? Who even buys it? And if refunds are as readily available as I've shown here, how do the scammers hope to make any money out of it? Good questions. I'm glad you asked. Well, on previous scam product videos, I've had enough people try to argue with me that it was a genuine pricing error, or that it's not a scam, or just drop shipping and economy of scale lets them sell things at amazing low prices. So who buys it? Well, those people for a start. Well, some of them probably. But there's also a wider group of people who realise it's too good to be true, but for one reason or another are expecting a knockoff, look-alike product instead of either nothing at all or a pair of sunglasses. There are examples of this happening on the screen right now, and I want to make it clear I don't think it's appropriate to scorn these folks. At least in part, some of these people are just expressing a state of mind that in nearly any other context we would consider virtuous. It's called hope, trust, optimism, and faith in other humans. Those are good things, And if everyone in the world was like this, it would be a better world. The trouble is, they're not. And very specifically, some of the people who are not like this, the scammers, are explicitly targeting the people who are. There's nothing wrong with being hopeful, trusting and optimistic, so don't stop that altogether. It's just that in situations like this scam, hope, trust and optimism are misplaced and wasted. Anyway, so that's probably enough about who might buy this. Now, how do the scammers actually profit from it? I have a few ideas about that, but I'll also be interested to hear your own thoughts if you want to let me know in the comments. First, as a pure numbers game, if the scammers get hundreds of buyers for these scams, a certain proportion will never get their money back, either because they're insufficiently assertive with the Wish refund system, or because they're too embarrassed by their mistake, or can't be bothered, or even if they fall sick or die before the scam completes. In a proportion of cases, the scammers just win by default. But also notice that the advertised lead time on these products is typically pretty long. When you buy the product, the promise of delivery might be months in the future. But as we saw in that first case, the actual shipping process, fake as it was rather surprisingly quick. Wish only provides a fairly short window in which to claim a refund. And if the customer has email notifications turned off, or those notifications are getting treated as spam, by the time they eventually remember to check what happened about that thing they ordered, it's all history and the opportunity to claim a refund has gone. And in that second case, where it never got marked as shipped at all, it just all sort of fizzled out. Again, action is required on the part of the buyer to get that refund. And if, after that long waiting time, they've simply forgotten about the order, then again, the window of opportunity for refund might expire before they remember. And of course, if Wish does something like they seem to have done to Monica, that is, try to lock them out of their own account, they might simply not be able to access the refund claim process. Now, this video has already been quite long and wordy, so I think it's time to wrap up. Closing thoughts. Obvious scam is obvious, but it's also obviously successful, or else they wouldn't be trying it. And I do believe, based on what we saw here, that success is sometimes explicitly and overtly aided and abetted by Wish. Not just by the simple existence of a poorly policed marketplace, but by purposeful action. Not only are there scams on Wish, but I think Wish is actively helping the scammers. And the other thing to think about is, what if I told you potato? What if the purpose of all of this was not anything I've yet discussed or speculated at all? What if the motives of the scammer are not as simple as trying to profit from a fake listing of a too-good-to-be-true laptop? What if I'm not as smart as I think I am? This is something that should never be ruled out. For example, in that first round where I was immediately refunded, the scammers probably still did walk away with the details I provided for shipping, that is my name and address and a phone number, and the notion that I might be a person who's a bit too trusting and hopeful when it comes to scams. Maybe the real scam isn't the laptops refunded along the way. Maybe the real scam hasn't started yet. So I hope this has been a little bit interesting. Thanks for watching, stay safe from scams, and I hope to see you again soon.